Thanks again for joining me this morning. I know that you and I have kind of met and talked a lot through strategic planning process all semester. But this is an opportunity, I think, to get to know each other better and then kind of feel out how strategic planning has gone. But, I realized I never, in all of our conversations, asked, what brought you to the strategic planning process? What interested you about becoming a part of strategic planning?
I joined strategic planning because I wanted to make a difference, and I feel like this is the perfect platform to do so. One of the main things that I wanted to focus on was the graduation rate. I know that there's 80% acceptance, but 40% graduation rate, and I feel like the strategic planning is the perfect place to address some of the issues and concerns that can better the student body in regards to getting their graduation goals completed.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So were there some specific aspects of strategic planning, part of that platform that you really wanted to emphasize as a student representative, a member of Student Government Association?
Course availability. I believe that students, as paying students, they should have the ability to select suitable professors for them. And I know a lot of times we have these courses where it's just one course and one professor, but the issue with having one course is that it's offered once a semester and then it's one class. And so if 30 people fill that class, everybody else is waiting a year to take the next class. But also when you have one professor teaching that course, it doesn't really help the other students who are diverse learners. So if that person is an auditory professor and they speak, but you have a visual learner or a combination learner, then they're really not getting the resources that they need. And when there's no academic resources in the sense that there's like no upper level tutoring services for sophomores, seniors, juniors, if you only have one professor that's available that doesn't teach the way that that student learns, but outside of that class, there's no resources for them to gain, then they're struggling through no fault of their own. And I think that's one of the main issues that I wanted to bring to the strategic planning: course availability, academic resources, and student life resources as well.
Okay. So student life in terms of, what kinds of programs or services have you heard, folks might be interested in?
Well, one thing that I'm very passionate about is volunteer opportunities. And I feel because it's a commuter school, we should have on-campus volunteer opportunities. So that way students can come here and, there's the food market, they get food resources, they get other resources. They should be able to have volunteer opportunities on campus as well, so that they don't have to travel to other places. They can get all their needs met here. That's something that benefits them in the long run as far as their resume. But also, I know one other concern was internship opportunities and job opportunities after graduation. I know for the SJ open forum we had, one of the senators mentioned that a way to serve minorities and not just enroll them is to partner with all of the Fortune 500 companies that may be near our location, because we're in a location that is near a lot of companies, but we don't have like them coming to us and offering job opportunities for after graduation or those internship opportunities right away.
Oh, those are very good points. Okay. I can tell you, I recently became a full professor here at UHD. So I began my academic life as an assistant professor here. And now I'm at the start of my 11th year as a full professor. When you think about the kind of service as a faculty member you might be called on to do, with your program or your department or your college versus the university, the wider university, one of the highest honors, it's an honor and it's hard work, right, is to give service to the university. The strategic planning process is really the heart and soul and life's blood of a university when done well. think about the things that we've done, right, in just a short amount of time. We've re-examined the mission and the vision. We've created aims and goals and objectives. And soon we will actually be looking at the plan itself and really nailing down what are the prioritized initiatives that we'll be doing in the short term versus the midterm versus the longer term of this 5-year plan. When you think about the mission and the vision of a strategic plan, this is kind of really the beginnings of that blueprint, and then everything else follows from there. And so as a faculty member, I saw myself as having 2 jobs, right? One is representing the interest of faculty in this strategic plan, but also as an educator, right? The other reason to get involved with strategic planning is really to also join with, like you, and really try to insert the voice of students into that plan. As a faculty member, I need to be invested in your success. One of the reasons I came to UHD is because I'm a lot more like UHD students than any of the other universities I've ever attended. So as a faculty member, I want to be invested in the success. I know a lot of our other faculty join with me in that, but we want to know how to do that in a way that's going to, to use a sports analogy, move that football forward, from our perspective, on behalf of you all, but also to join with you all in terms of moving, that needle forward, improving. What does it take to improve the 6-year or the 4-year graduation rates? What does it take to improve current student and alumni satisfaction and success? What does it take to be the kind of university that offers opportunities inside the classroom and outside the classroom that are going to keep you all engaged and proud to be Gators, and then proud to be Gator alum? Not just because, we're going to ask y'all to give at some point when y'all make your fortunes, but from genuinely wanting to see you go out into the community and to embed and invest in the community, and to, bring, that Gator spirit into communities for the purposes of improving the Houston area and beyond. Folks like me, I'm approaching mid-career. I've got years to go before I retire. But I want to see and my legacy continue, and our students at UHD are the faculty's legacy. So we want to give you the best tools to move forward, and engaging you all in the strategic planning committee, whether that's you as a representative on the community, the committee rather, whether that's the students participating in focus groups or surveys. These are all ways that we hope people will get excited and engaged about, because this is the 5-year plan that we're generating, and so it needs to have as many eyes and ears and voices included as possible. So, that's a long-winded explanation for why I got involved, but I join with you in why this is such an important thing, important work that you and I have gotten involved in this semester. And I think, with all things considered, I think I'm pretty proud. Hopefully you feel the same way. It's been pretty cool. And so in thinking about the ways that you engaged other students throughout the semester in terms of getting feedback, can you speak to some of the things that you've done in talking with your fellow students or talking with fellow SGA and getting their advice, or what their expectations are?
I think students are very hopeful, including the new president. Like, we've heard him speak. We've heard what he's about. he came looking for us for SJ. We didn't have to find him, and that was one thing that we were very impressed about. And he told us there was a lot of things that he wanted to change for the university for the betterment. And a lot of students amongst SGA, but outside of SGA, are very hopeful that he would do that, and we believe he will do that. As far as the strategic planning, I feel like once we get more surveys and stuff out there, and students actually see that the university is very interested in doing that and they believe it, we'll get more feedback and students would want to participate even more. Obviously, we are doing the committee because we want to be involved in making a change for students, but things take time. But I hear a lot of students that are very hopeful that things are going to be made better for us.
And I know you mentioned when we were talking earlier, support services, accessibility of classrooms, not just about kind of the format of the class and, not just the hybrid or online or that kind of thing, but the scheduling of those classes. Are there some other aspects of student life, whether that's academic or on the student support end, that you're hearing from the other students that they, kind of want us to, be sure to think about or be sure to include?
I think course availability is the main thing that students want the university to focus on. Because a lot of times when we say that, like you said, people think of modalities and they think online or hybrid. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about we want more than one course offered for our upper level courses because seniors and juniors are on their way out. But if we don't have those classes and they're not offered, it's a financial burden for students because they're taking filler courses that they don't need just for the sake of being a student, especially if they depend on financial aid and they have to have a certain course limit. But the main thing students want is they want their classes offered more than once a year. They want their classes offered more than once a semester. And they want multiple professors so that they don't have to keep choosing the same professor if they fail and then have to wait a year to take it again and then fail again because they don't have those tutoring resources or a different professor to take that course with.
A different perspective or, maybe a different way of emphasizing a certain material. Or I think you mentioned also how learning styles and things like that.
This is a very diverse school, and this is a very unique school in the sense that not all the students are the same. We have people that come back at different stages of their education path. Maybe they dropped out and they came back. Maybe they're coming back for a career change, but they're coming not as a freshman, so when they come and then their course is not offered until the fall, but it's the spring, then they're waiting and then they're taking filler courses. So that is something that's very important for the students, but also when you have this class offered once a year and then you need the prereqs and maybe you don't have the prereqs. For example, I'm a chemistry major, so I'll say maybe physical chemistry needs calculus 2, but you've completed calculus 1 and you didn't complete calculus 2. But you need that class that's coming up and it's offered once a year. Maybe provide a boot-up course that just teaches you the exact math systems that you need for that specific course. That way you don't have to wait a whole nother year to take the course. You can take a mini term that teaches you the basics that you need for that particular chemistry course. Okay. That's one way that students don't have to wait to take courses, but just offering them more is the main thing that students want.
So it sounds like more course sections of classes, more consistently, more than, one time a year, some flexibility, kind of looking forward in the scheduling to kind of say, hey, we're going to have this group of students that may have this prereq versus course issue in terms of scheduling. What can we do to make it more efficient for them to be able to hit that target and get that class? But even beyond that, kind of redoing our systems so it's not even that choice. The class in question is offered more often so that students really can, using your example, if they need that calculus 2, They'll be able to get that calculus 2 at a time that works best for them and is more efficient for them, because they know that that chemistry class, that physical chemistry class, is going to be offered more than just the fall or more than just the spring. It'll be offered fall and spring, perhaps fall, spring, and summer. Does that kind of, hit what you're talking about?
Yeah, and maybe as far as advising services as well, they can help us get on track too. But I feel like a lot of student complaints too come from like academic advising. They don't know how long it's going to take for them to graduate based on the courses that's offered, but they don't know what actually qualifies for their degree plan in the event that their courses aren't offered, or just getting the correct information so that they can be successful and they're not taking courses that they don't need.
The filler courses you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like really, and again, this is a great time to be engaged in the strategic plan, because, it's like one of the only times you'll see where you'll have academic support services, you'll have academic services, you'll have faculty and staff and now, student representation in the same way, with all eyes on this plan, generating a way to do things like look at flexibility of scheduling, look at, is it that we need to hire more and diverse faculty to be able to offer, those classes more consistently, to be able to give multiple perspectives related to the courses. Yeah, exactly. So that ultimately those pieces will work together via the strategic plan to transform this university, so that those pieces do fit better together. They do work better together. And then we can see that student success and that student satisfaction. And then, that more efficient movement towards, graduation that you all want as students, and we certainly want as faculty and staff for you. The longer you're here, the more you're delayed in really launching your careers in your chosen fields.
The more people get discouraged and leave and take time to come back. Yeah.
So it sounds like, we've got our work cut out for us, right, in this strategic plan. But it also sounds like, we've also need to continue working together and trying to get, more students to, keep sending in those surveys, keep participating in those focus groups, keep contacting the organizers even of our strategic planning committee, and making their voices heard, so that, the students really set the tone, put forward expectations of what it is that they think we can do better, and what can we improve, so that ultimately that student experience is maximized,
And I always emphasize that when I speak to students, that this is a critical time for you to speak up, because you don't want to wait another 5 years to want to make a difference. Right. And at this day and age where times are changing, and life, the pace is moving fast, and people are trying to figure out what they're doing with their lives and what direction they're going in. If things aren't changed now, then, that's something that is concerning, because another 5 years to change course availability or tutoring services or diverse professors, that's a setback.
Yeah. Also, I think you mentioned earlier that we do have, a student body that does come back to us, multiple times. And so, I think you're absolutely on point there, that if we, kick that can down the road and say, oh, well, we'll do what we can do this 5 years, and, 5 years down the, road later, it's like, oh, we're still talking about the same stuff, right? Well, that same student may be looking at us like, oh, maybe I want to come and do a master's degree. Maybe I want to come and do a certificate. Oh, well, they were talking about that same stuff when I was an undergrad. Maybe not. So no, I really hear you on that. But that's a really good point about, well, not just improving ourselves, as an institution because our students deserve it, but also being able to grow and transform to be that university that you want to come back to and be proud of. So, yeah, the strategic planning process, it's really rigorous, but I think it's worth it. I think that, again, the more we can think about ways to get students involved, let the voices be heard, then the better we're going to be able to fine-tune that plan with students in mind. Is there anything we could do to get more participation?
I know we do the surveys and we've had open forums. I don't really know. I just think when they start seeing the changes and just the more frequency of us asking for their opinions, that they'll start participating more. But I also know that they need to know that it's their voice that counts. And if they don't speak up, then the change that's not made is also partly on them, you know. They're partly to blame if they don't participate because the administration can only do so much for us. But if we're not taking a stand and actually saying this is what we need, then it's only so much that everyone can do.
That's a very good point. Well, we're going to continue to work together, and I know the rest of the committee is really committed as well to, trying to, get students to feel, more comfortable coming and voicing their opinions. It sounds like maybe we have a lot more work to do in terms of surveys or focus groups or interviews or, those kinds of things. And getting the word out internally about those opportunities, but really helping students to understand now's the time. Now's the time. If you got anything you think that could help us to grow and improve, now's the time to kind of put your hand up and say, "Hey, here's what I'm thinking." And we'll see how it goes. This process is going to go into spring of 22. At some point, we'll be giving parts of the plan out to give feedback. So I think those are going to be also some opportunities to get student feedback, to really look at how it manifests in the strategic plan, and to make some tweaks, adjustments to help make that plan as student-focused as possible. So before that, we got to drum up new feedback and interest and awareness when we unveil that plan.
And for awareness, I feel like maybe the professors can also bring it up when they start the beginning of the semester, mention it to the students so that they're aware of it. For those who, aren't paying attention to emails or open forums, maybe having that direct conversation with their professors at the beginning of the semesters can bring awareness to the student body as well.
Well, that's a great idea, at the course level, but perhaps also maybe there's something we can do at college level, where we engage individual colleges and go, hey, College of Sciences and Technology, hey, public service, and so on. Students, we want to hear from you. What is it, that you think will help UHD, to become that next level university?
And that was one of the goals through SJ that I wanted to do as well. Focus on having specific open forums for each college because every college is not the same and every college has different issues. Maybe the College of Science Technology has different issues from the College of Business. So focusing on individual colleges and see what they need so that everybody can be better serviced and helped in the long run.
That's a great idea. Okay. Well, thank you. I mean, it's been a pleasure working with you this semester. I've loved the feedback that you've given. I love the tenacity that you advocate for your fellow students. It's been a pleasure to work with you. So I'm really looking forward to spring of 22 when we really, get the word out and really get more feedback, to improve this plan. But, it's been great working with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure working with everybody on the committee. I love interacting with everyone and hearing what they have to say. And I love that everybody has like strong personalities and everybody wants change, because then we get everybody's different perspectives. And at the end of the day, that's what we need to make everything better for the university.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you again.